Hi everyone, my name is Giovanni from Sonomono Company. Today I would like to introduce some products again. But before that I would like to explain something, because sometimes I think our customers get a kind of the wrong image about what we are saying. Some people think that we are against eating natto, or that we don't recommend eating natto because we make natto powder. Some people think that we are not recommending eating raw natto or substituting raw natto. But that's far from the real intention of the company. Our company basically is a natto company that changed the way to eat natto. I'm going to explain this with the product itself. So this is what everybody knows as natto, the fermented soybeans that you can buy at every supermarket. And we are not against eating natto. Actually, as a natto company, we ourselves love natto. Why? Because natto is a more than 1,000 years Japanese superfood that was discovered, according to some stories, some legends, when some warriors boiled soybeans, and after that they packed them with straws or dry straws from rice. And because the natto bacteria lives naturally in rice straws, due to the heat of being recently baked, recently cooked, and the contact with the rice straws, they put that kind of primitive envelopment behind the horse chairs, and they have to move from one place to other. So thanks to the heat of the horse and thanks to the heat of the rider, it produces a kind of natural fermentation process for some hours, and they leave it for some days. And when they remember, oh, we leave some cooked soy on the straws, let's eat it, they found it became natto. And that's wonderful, because it's an amazing superfood. Actually, what fermentation does is transforming the amino acids, the natural amino acids of soy, and make them even more bioavailable. It makes easier to use by our body. And also, thanks to the fermentation, some unique compounds are created. One is the nattokinase, an enzyme that has the property of dissolving plaques in blood. The other thing is vitamin K1 and 2. Actually, natto is the highest natural source of vitamin K2. And the other one is the natto bacteria itself. Nobody eats dry rice straws. So there was no way to get the natto bacteria. That is an amazing probiotic, if it were not thanks to the natto. So thanks to the natto, people started to eating natto bacteria, and that's something amazing. But as a natto company, we found two limitations with this product. The first one is that it has a very acquired smell, this kind of slimy texture that makes it difficult to eat with another food. So in Japan, mainly people eat it as a topping or fresh steamed rice. And lately, thanks to its popularity, a lot of people have experimenting and trying to make new recipes using natto. But you need to be accustomed to natto to appreciate its kind of a strong, earthy taste. Or according to some surveys, almost 50% of Japanese people don't like natto. So even if it's super healthy, 50% of Japanese people don't like. So imagine what happens with foreigners. The proportion should be even higher than that. So as a company, we firmly believe that this is one of the best probiotic superfoods in the world because of the nattokinase, because of the vitamin K2, because of the probiotics. But we understand the smell, the flavor, and the sliminess are kind of very, very strong demerit points. And the other thing is the difficulty to use it with another food. So it's very difficult to use it as a base ingredient for other things. But after we researched more and more about natto, we found something, and it's the biggest demerit of this way to eat natto, and it's the natto bacteria itself. The natto bacteria in raw natto is a living organism. It's like, I don't know, imagine any kind of bug or any kind of insect moving. So it's populated with millions of these microorganisms with this natto bacteria. And there is a problem. When you eat the natto, this bacteria, the natto bacteria, enters in contact with the gastric acid, it dies. So that's the main problem with natto. It has amazing probiotic properties, but almost all the natto bacteria are going to die when they enter in contact with the gastric acid. Of course, there is a small percentage of the natto bacteria that could be hidden, I don't know, between chunks of natto that you don't chow very well or it mixed with other food. And this small proportion of natto bacteria are going to survive the gastric acid because it's not going to be touched by the gastric acid. It's going to reach the intestine and it's going to proliferate, supporting the growth of another good bacteria like bifidobacteria, for example. But it's not the ideal way to provide your body this amazing bacteria, this amazing probiotic. So what we found is that by freeze drying this product, the bacteria change the state from a living state to a spore form. And what is a spore form? It's basically this natto-bacteria's DNA encapsulated in a kind of natural shield like this box. So thanks to this spore, thanks to this protection, when the natto changes from this form to this form or this form, by this I mean freeze-dried powder, like this, when it becomes from raw natto to this freeze-dried powder. But just when you freeze-dry it happens, the natto bacteria enters into this state. And thanks to this state, when it reaches the gastric acid, when it reaches the inside of the stomach and the gastric acid, it's unharmed. So it survives the gastric acid, reach the intestines, and once inside the intestines, thanks to the adequate temperature and moisture of the intestine, it breaks the spore, makes a new body, and starts to multiply. So what we have with the natto powder and the natto powder capsules is the solution to the biggest demerit of raw natto. We increase the survivability rate of the natto bacteria, and that's something very, very remarkable. But because thanks to this, the natto bacteria is able to work in the intestines, produce a lot of beneficial compounds that support the intestinal barrier, and also support the growth of another good intestinal bacteria, creating a balanced gut microbiome. And a balanced gut microbiome is basic to support the immune system, to support nutrients absorption, and a lot of other things. So, with the natto powder, we also solve another problem, and it's the versatility. So, as I explained before, with the natto in its raw form, difficult to use as a base ingredient for other food. But with the natto powder, you you open a door to a kind of unlimited possibility of ways to use natto. So, for example, just as an example, you can check our official Instagram account, the Japanese one, and there you're going to find more than 9,000 recipes posted by our Japanese users who have found amazing ways to use natto. Actually, because of that, I'm going to share with you two of our customer recipes. One, and I think I shared this before, but I like it because it's very simple, yet very powerful. One of our customers last summer said that she was eating ornato powder in this way, and to she was able to lose 3 kilograms in 1 month. So that's amazing. So what you need to do, it's very simple. You just take a banana, you can smash it with fork or something. Well, I'm using a fork. You want to smash it with another thing, you can use what you have available. Well, you smash the banana and tries to create kind of paste. And banana is a very good food, a very nutritious food because it contains a lot of good minerals, healthy minerals. Uh, Also, is a very good probiotic, contains a lot of fiber. And then you add natto powder. I'm using this big spoon, but actually what we recommend is just adding 1 small teaspoon, like this one. This small one, I use this big one just because it's easier to use, but and a small teaspoon of 1.5 or 2 grams is enough. And after that, you mix it, and I'm done with this. You add some yogurt, a little bit, and then mix it again. And that's all. If you want, you can even freeze this, and then you have kind of a very healthy and natural gelato. One of the amazing things of the bacteria when it enters into the spore form is that it can withstand boiling temperatures and also freezing temperatures. So even if you freeze this, the bacteria is going to be okay. So this is ready to eat, but if you want, just, well, maybe you are not going to lose weight if you add a lot of sugar, but you can add a little bit of honey, maybe, just to make it even tastier. And that's a recipe shared by one of our customers. As always, is very good. And she said that just by eating this every day for 1 month, she lost 3 kilograms. So I don't know. Of course, our products are food. They are not medicine. They are not supplement. They are super healthy food. So we cannot promise the same results for everyone. But anyway, it could be good to try. But something that you can be sure is that if you eat, 1 tablespoon of natto powder every day, you are going to support your digestion. And there is no doubt about it. You are going to have better digestion and you are going to notice results in as short as 2 or 3 days. And the other recipe that I want to share is another one shared by one of the customers. Wait a little bit. And this is just a very, very way to make chai. So I already prepared some English tea. So after that, you can add some cinnamon to taste. And after that, you add the natto powder. We have two versions of natto powder. We have this navy one called classic and this one called mild. The difference is the smell and the slimness. If you use this one, after mixing with your food, it's going to have a kind of a stronger texture. It's going to have more body, and it has more natto smell. If you use the mild one, it's going to have less texture and kind of mild aroma. So this one is very good to prepare this kind of drink or any kind of drink. I am preparing this kind of chai, but after that, the last part is just adding some milk. But you can try to prepare cafe latte or smoothies, or you can add to juice, fruit juice, or that kind of not very overwhelming beverage. So that's all. You just mix, and after that, serve. That's all. With a kind of instant chai. So imagine, as always, I like to try to show the real reaction after testing our products. It's very good. I really recommend this one. Is very likely. It's an amazing way to start your day. So imagine that instead of drinking your regular coffee or your regular cocoa or smoothie or chai, like this one, you're drinking a probiotic food. So every spoon, every small teaspoon of natto powder provides billions of natto bacteria, billions of probiotics. So instead of drinking just a simple cup of tea, you are drinking a probiotic food and you are providing your body billions and billions and billions of probiotics. So, as this is a cooking demonstration, I wanted to show you 2 ways to use the natto powder according to our customers. But, sometimes life happens, you are busy, you have something to do. So for that moment, we have the natto powder capsules. It contains the natto powder, the same natto powder of our products, but it increases the ways to use for people who are busy or who travel frequently. So you only need to take 3 capsules and you are taking the equivalent of 1 tablespoon. So we think this is the most revolutionary and the smartest way to provide all natto health benefits and plus all the natto powder health benefits to your body, and the easiest way to incorporate it to your daily food or your daily diet. So for people who are interested in the natto powder or natto capsules and are wondering which one is better, I may say both are same, but it really depends on the way that you use them, and it really depends of the customer's lifestyle. So if someone is interested, we would be happy to answer any kind of questions from our customers. So please feel free to contact us at any time. Thank you very much.